Yeah, we're on now.
It's, I did look in Utah, they don't.
All 7, yeah, we got 8.
I'm going to Utah next year. To Park City.
Hey Ryan, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Oh, yeah. Looks like your Saturday opened up a little bit.
So I turned the heat up in here, if anybody's too hot, let me know, it's turning back down. Where it was.
My last coat on, get cold.
What's up? How are you? Dressed me right.
What's up, Mike?
Put it here just in case someone.
This is the Summerfield UDO Committee meeting dated February 1st, 2018 at the Summerfield Fire District. It'll start shortly.
We don't have.
Because it's rotating.
Everybody in my office.
I can get to him if I need to. He's taking a.
What's that?
I kind of was like, I'll do that.
Here you go. Bill's not here. Okay, everyone, let's go ahead and get started. I don't have a gavel. Welcome back, everyone. Let's call the meeting to order. So we have a lot to cover, maybe. For the approval of the agenda, it looks like we're going to have to take off policy area 9 because we rescheduled our meeting. The school representative, the Guilford County Schools representative could not be here. So my recommendation is we take that off until, and they have confirmed the next meeting, right?
It's not 100% confirmation, but I thought we'd go ahead
better than a no.
and start looking at the homework anyway. We had wanted to hear from them before doing the homework. But I think that maybe after this meeting that will come through as the next homework. We just won't be talking about it on tonight's agenda.
So I'd like to recommend striking number 6, which is policy area 9, and then adding at the end a discussion around the survey results from the group.
Oh, we're adding the survey.
Right.
After policy area 2.
After policy area 2, during the wrap, or right before the wrap-up. Is that okay with everyone?
Move to approve the agenda as modified.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, what about the minutes from the January 4th meeting?
I had some edits in my one.
Yes.
There's a bunch of things that that I had in there. Of course, this isn't my copy that shows the edits, but I think I realized that we had 2 Browns, so I had Gary, your name in there in the adoption minutes. I just added Gary in the adoption minutes instead of just, because I used all last names.
The footer.
I changed the footer to the current footer with new council in there. There was a D missing on a word.
You were a lot more worried about it.
It was. What else did I do?
I'm bringing it up now if you want. It was editorial, nothing substantive. And the idea was to make those edits in addition to whatever that tonight's board would come up with, and then retype it for you, Jason.
Okay.
So did anyone else have any comments on the agenda? So, on the minutes. So if he's making changes, can we motion to approve the minutes with the changes that Jason has recommended?
Perhaps either that or continue it to the next meeting when everyone has a chance to review the changes.
We can do that too.
Would that make you be more comfortable maybe, so that people can
I'm
see?
happy either way.
Okay. Well, like I said, there aren't substantive changes, there were editorial changes.
Yeah, if they were editorial,
Were there any substantive changes?
not substantive.
You guys are good
Word.
at that word.
I use it on purpose.
Yeah, just adding Gary, a few typos, and fixing the letterhead.
Yeah, I remember the other one I did was, there was an autocorrect mistake. Yeah, so it's just editorial.
Okay?
Move for approval subject to these changes.
Second.
All in favor? Anyone opposed?
Who's second?
Okay, so now discussion. Minutes were a topic, and so, maybe council can give me some advice here, because it seems like that took up a lot of the council time at the last meeting was our minutes, and minutes for committees. Can the council change our minutes? Okay. So I'm,
Not one. The ordinance specifies that the committee will keep periods on this.
so one thing the council did recommend was we need a full-time secretary. And we have a voluntold secretary now. So Beth is now our permanent secretary.
Thank you, Beth.
So anyone whose name was not picked out of the hat owes her something.
Better bring your donuts.
So Beth will be our, so we did get advice. At least what I saw in the video from town council meeting, one of them was that we need to have consistency with the secretary, so we will now have that. And from what I hear, she's done a great job in the past, so that will work out nice.
Sorry.
Do we have to make a motion to accept her? Yes.
You,
As,
Someone should
we're
nominate.
not in public comments right now.
Your job is to appoint her
Okay.
as the,
So I would like
as
to
the secretary.
appoint Beth as our secretary.
I think if it's coming from the committee, it should be a motion to.
It can't hurt to be more than what's necessary by the ordinance. So go ahead and do it.
Anyone have a motion?
Motion.
I move that we accept your appointment of Beth as our permanent
Do we have a
secretary.
second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Everybody will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay.
Shocked. Snuck that one through.
The other thing with our minutes was there was discussion around some public comments that were made in the minutes and expert commentary. I think we're supposed to include public comments as they're told. We haven't brought an expert up to speak to us yet, so it wasn't written in the minutes as an expert. And the person who did speak actually does have CCIM accreditation. But we wouldn't change our public comments minutes, if I'm correct in assuming that's how we would address a public comment. They would be as they're said in the public comment.
At the council level, we don't change public comments. They are what they are. Citizens certainly are entitled to say whatever they want.
Okay.
It's still fair to say that was a public comment and not
Sure.
our requested expert, and the information that was handed out was unsolicited by us and is unverified by the committee or the town.
I think that's very fair.
Yeah, and that we do plan on having a housing expert that the committee is, and facilitator is requesting in March, we hope, to talk about housing. Does that help your
Yeah,
explanation, Todd?
yeah.
You're
Kinda
actually
keep
the
it
one
accurate,
speaking.
Yeah,
you know,
I agree.
accuracy on it, so.
Who's the hubby, is it Tribeca? Is that the hubby?
Yes, we're talking to Trudeck.
Trudick.
Trudeck, thank you, Trudeck.
So the other, speaking of March, and obviously we missed a meeting due to this fluffy white stuff that keeps coming down in our not supposed to be get white stuff area. We have a committee meeting scheduled during Guilford County Schools spring break. Not this next meeting, but the meeting after that. So I want to bring it up to the committee, but I think multiple of us do have children and would not be able to attend that meeting.
Is that March 2nd?
That is
Or first.
April, no, I'm sorry, it's 3 meetings from now, not,
April
Like the April
5th
April
meeting.
5th.
is
I was
the
gonna say.
spring break.
That's interesting, because my daughter's.
Yeah, it starts that Friday before and goes through that whole week. So I wanted to get a discussion around, can we cancel that meeting?
I'll be out of town.
And I will not be here if there's a
2, 3.
meeting on that day.
Yeah, you probably skiing.
So it's probably going to push us a little later than we wanted
You wanna replace
originally.
it?
Hold up, and let me look at the calendar. Do we have a replacement date that we should put?
We had some considerations to either meet March 29th, which is the week before that, and would have us meeting 3 times in March, but still every other week.
Yeah, 'cause there was 3 weeks, there was gonna be 3 weeks there between those meetings anyway, right?
2.
I'm not sure.
There would be 2 in between.
Wait, when's
No,
that?
there will be 3
Oh, you're
between the
right.
15th and the 5th.
Is that February or March?
March. Well,
But it's in
by
March.
the end of February,
End of
so.
February to beginning of March?
Mhm.
Maybe we should, because that might put us ahead when we kind of need to maybe that might give us
Well,
some time to catch up on that.
Do we need to make the decision tonight, or can we see how everything goes this meeting and the next meeting and bring it up again at the next
Sure
meeting?
can.
Will that work for everyone?
Mm.
If we
And then we just-
tentatively know that we're not going to have a meeting at that time.
The week of, the first week of April.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we'll discuss whether or not to have a replacement.
So that will
meeting.
be an item for next meeting where we try and figure out either a replacement date or we cancel it and
Or
just
after.
go forward.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all the discussion I have. Bill is looking a little different, and he's also on the front page of the newspaper today, so Jesse is here to replace Bill.
Oh, look, Bill's not here.
He's taking some
I was a
time
little slow, sorry.
to be by the coast.
Thank you for
Missing
being our
some,
facilitator today.
Some ice probably coming up, appreciate it, so yeah, bear with me if I'm not up to speed on all the previous discussions, but we've had a digest meeting and keeping track on emails up to this point, so we're going to cover tonight's agenda.
Okay. So why don't we jump into, this is the follow-up to what we've been doing on policy area 8.
Here's where we left off. Here, everybody. Leave it out. This spreadsheet.
We'll make that a little bit bigger on the other one.
There we go.
Okay, so, Gary's pulling that up. Where we left off here. Looks like we're in policy area 8.6, where we left off, which is the importance, this is around attractive community appearance. 8.6 is the important economic and community image benefits of attractive major travel corridors. I realize it's been several weeks since y'all met, so you may not remember the discussion where we left off of. So let me just read that policy 8.6. Major travel corridors through the town shall be recognized and attract such entryway corridors shall receive priority attention for improved appearance and development standards, including screening, landscaping, signage, tree preservation, and underground utilities. So that's policy area 8.6 from the comp plan. And so we'll just walk through some of the comments after that, and then before we jump to Priscilla's comment, 8.6 about commercial properties, was there anything that wasn't wrapped up from the discussion about I-73? No,
That's when I threw the bomb.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
You never tried to throw it on.
Yeah, we finished that discussion with the concept. We had started the meeting with the thought that there'd be one scenic designation for 150, 220, and I-73. But we ended looking at, we ended by discussing that 220 is such a commercial corridor right now, and that we want to be able to preserve the ability to have small business pop-ups, you know, like coffee carts and food trucks and things like that, and that those things don't necessarily fit in 150 or I-73 corridor, right? But we didn't discuss the merits of it.
What was the buffer we talked about on 73? Wasn't it like 1,000 feet off the right of way?
That's what's in the draft, yeah.
1,000 feet off the right of way, you can't have a building.
I'm sorry.
No, that's the scenic corridor.
Overlay area.
Yeah, so it's not
Hold on
necessarily
one second,
about.
hold on.
So,
Unfortunately, we have a quorum with the council present this meeting currently. Councilwoman Peterman, Councilwoman Rotrick, myself, and Mayor Dunn.
I sent an email to the clerk and said to do the public, suggested the public notice with possibility of quorum, and he said that that was not necessary. And I think Teresa had a similar reply. The town clerk said that it was not necessary to notice the possibility of the quorum.
Okay. As long as, I think that's okay as long as we stay separated at a point and we
Yes.
do not discuss town business between us.
Well, I agree, that's why I asked the question.
Okay. Sorry, I apologize.
Nope, following the procedures, good.
yeah.
But yeah, back to the distances or, yeah.
The overlay is, so within 1,000 feet, so, and then you said there was something about signage that was restricted down to, you were talking about it.
Certain height.
6 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 6 or 8 feet,
6.
6 feet.
You can have a 6-foot sign along the highway? Okay.
Right,
It's
so
better than the
maybe-
McDonald's sign up.
Yeah, so we're not worried about pole-mounted signs that are gonna be back, lit and be shining as you're driving through there, so you don't have to worry about that, so then, and then we got lighting restrictions.
They're pretty
I
good.
don't know, if y'all wanna jump in on it, then, but it sounds pretty,
I thought the restrictions were only on the scenic overlay, which I thought went along 150 and then just down 220 and then over to 150 east. And so not all the way down 220. Am I mistaken? So the
It goes to-
restrictions
it goes
would
to-
only be on the scenic overlay?
It's all of 220 in Summerfield,
All of 220?
You're thinking of the Summerfield, right?
within the town limits.
Okay.
Do we want to look where that's referenced, just to make sure?
Yeah, I guess I'm thinking of a map that shows, like, you can see the,
right, the band of it
yes, the
traveling
band
along.
of how it travels. And it didn't go all the way down 220.
Well, since this is my rabbit hole that I created, if it's okay with everyone, if I could ask Dick, do we need to go down this rabbit hole based on the zoning?
I mean, we've got the scenic corridor established. I don't really see where there's not, what we're going to do here is going to be much to change that. Okay. I think, Gary, am I not correct? Are we saying that 73 is going to be part of the scenic corridor as well?
Yes, we're gonna
Okay, so,
designate
I mean-
73 as a scenic corridor, as the others are.
And the restrictions are pretty strict, I would say, huh? And I don't think we can make a mistake.
And
Yeah, it's
So-
from the northern end of the town limits to the southern end of the town limits, Amber. All of 220.
Amber, what do you think of this map?
No.
So-
I'll find it.
So Carrie, what page is that?
4, page 70, Article 4, page 70.
Three. Well, as we're going through this too, for perspective, the reason that I raised this was the piece in the comp plan on, I think, page 71, where it explicitly suggests a second overlay for I-73 for these reasons, you know, for the disparity between a very rural sort of treed corridor on I-73 versus an already commercialized corridor on 220, and how do you grapple with the disparity? So if the same overlay applies to I-73 as it does to 220, does that tighten restrictions on 220, or does it loosen restrictions on I-73?
Wait, what's the question again? So, just out.
If the same overlay applies to 220 and I-73, does that keep fairly tight restrictions on I-73, or does it loosen restrictions?
It depends on what's in that
I think
overlay.
it tightens them on 73.
But does it also then tighten them on 220, where we lose, you know, some of these startup businesses that are serving a function?
On page 4-95, Article 4-95, number 7, existing tree canopy does not currently exist in our ordinance. So we've added existing tree canopy for all scenic corridor overlays, so it's stricter than what we have right now. The question is whether that's strict enough for I-73. So if you read that, tree removal will occur only when approved with site plan or subdivision. I think that we might want to have something stronger for tree preservation along I-73 that is different than 220 and 150. Because the comprehensive plan says that now that since we have this tree corridor, we want to maintain it that way.
Is that a similar kind of feeling from the committee?
And how wide's the right-of-way total? 200 foot on each side, or is it?
I know
I-73 should be, I mean, you're talking about from center line? 200
Center
feet?
line.
200 feet from both sides, that'd be a
Huge.
massive,
Okay.
it's probably, I mean,
total.
yeah, maybe total,
Total.
maybe more. I mean, like, Battleground Avenue is usually around like, 100. So, the highway being twice that, maybe 150. Anyway, yeah, I mean, the right of way, then you get around your interchanges and it's gonna,
Moves out.
but,
So is the goal to keep 73 preserved and try not to cut down trees?
I believe that's the question to you, is that what the comp plan is saying?
cruise down there, makes me want to buy a motorcycle.
Gibson 7 sale.
Do you think,
Yeah,
Jason, do you
right.
think the comp plan is saying that I-73 wants to preserve trees?
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear to me on page 71 of the comp plan that's what it was asking for. I had it in comments on the next page.
Yeah,
Page 69.
it's on 70.
It's on 7.
Oh, 7?
It's the third
All right,
paragraph.
you're off.
70.
See, they call it Scenic Corridor Overlay District 2.
On the recommendations that we made in there, I have it just above Priscilla, between Priscilla and Beth's comments in 8.6. Covering section 688. in the UDO, Article 5 in the UDO, and 651 in the UDO. Oh, that's because I did it myself for you. I'll send you.
Am I missing copies?
You know, a little bit.
No.
No?
Wait.
No?
It's because I did mine over Christmas for you.
So this is a dumb
Here it is,
question.
here it is. We're gonna use the PDF. I just
Yeah.
want the PDF.
I got a dumb question. So the Scenic Corridor Overlay District 2 would be a newly created scenic? So is the discussion going, and like I-73 should have do something with the number 2 Scenic Overlay District? And if you guys have already talked about that.
It doesn't exist today, right?
Sorry?
It doesn't exist today.
No.
But is that something we should look at for a recommendation of the planning board to look at developing something like that for I-73?
I think it's covered under Carrie's comment, the suggested comments on the right. Except my question was, since that's strengthening language for commercial properties, is that adequately covered in zone? Right, because homeowners aren't gonna be putting up big signs and
Well, there aren't gonna be big signs if it's a current sign ordinance, right?
Yeah.
I think so, right. And with I-73, it's limited access. So, I mean, I assume there will be some property owners who have, but the property, the right-of-way will want to, at some point, have maybe some business property there, but it's gonna be a little more difficult to do.
It's just that one long slice along Armfield West, between Armfield West and the freeway, that is the only property that got me fired up about this whole idea.
That's probably what's logged.
I think it was, yeah. I don't know who owns it, but it's,
No.
Oh, just before the entrance to Armfield, on the closest to I-73?
yeah.
Yeah.
We were talking about it, isn't people setback right in the corner, so they're preserved along
If you think this, Carrie, if you think the language in green covers that need, then I'm fine moving
it.
on.
Not if you're focused on tree preservation. I
Oh, it
think
was logged.
Yeah, he did that before they even started building the house.
Yeah.
the area that's already,
Yeah.
is what you're talking about.
So we need better coverage for.
I think for
tree removal.
vegetation, because that area is gonna grow back before it gets gone.
That's what we need to for. If,
Setback.
see, you'll get two different things, so you got, I mean, there's nothing wrong with this. I mean, we all have to make money in order to have the things that we do, but when you put up a business, you want to draw people to you. So you're going to put up a sign saying, hey, I'm here. Whether I'm selling gas or I'm selling whatever I'm selling, people driving along the highway, they see these 40-foot tall signs, and they're lit up, and they say Cracker Barrel, and you think, hey, I am hungry, and I'm going to pull off here. So these people are going to, they're going to want to have signs up along there, and we just have to talk about whether we want to have that corridor when you drive through it as advertisement, because the businesses will want it. But if we say, hey, you'll have to deal with the signs at the interchanges that you'll pay the state for, your own advertising, and they'll put the logo of the business on the sign at the interchange, and they'll say, exit here if you want this. And so they can still have directional signage, but it won't be that sky-high, pole-mounted, backlit, bright sign. So,
Well, you have smartphones too, where Waze pops up and says, hey, you want a cheeseburger?
you know, they're not going about, no. In commercial development, they need that sign right in front of your face, grabbing you right now. They're not going to, you know, I tell people all the time, just use your phone, and they're like,
Nope.
no.
So if something
Yeah.
goes in right at that corner of 150 and 73, the highest sign they can have right now
6
via
feet.
our ordinance
6 foot.
is 6 foot.
And so no one's going to waste money on that, because you won't be able to see it from the highway, not at grade like that, where it's raised. I mean, especially if it's got, what, 50-foot, square foot?
But they could have a, like you said, the blue sign, food, gas, lodging.
Yeah, at the interchange, they'll have that, and that'll direct people, and that'll be what it is. Or you'll have the pole mounted brightly lit signs, and that's the other option. But you know, in scenic corridors, you know, then you have the big tree buffers along there, and you can keep them nice and clean.
This sounds like one of those things that deserves further and more pointed discussion about whether that 6-foot signage limit does apply at an intersection, interstate intersection. What have other municipalities done, what have other jurisdictions done to treat that? Whether we just have deeper setbacks along I-73 in order to keep that a scenic byway. And we would add language to that effect, like, or there's different tools, that's why I keep looking to you, there's different tools. The important thing is that what do you guys want?
Billboards are different, they're an advertisement type thing.
I think we like not having
Yeah, I don't
huge
think we want
signs.
40-foot signs.
So,
Backlit everywhere.
Say 20 foot.
Yeah.
6
Sign
foot.
for now.
I mean, the neighborhoods are Henson Forest, Henson Farms, Summerfield are all
They're
right.
All right there, that's our best
The
neighborhoods.
very sign Summerfield indicates there's a town. And if people are looking for something, they'll get off the exit.
Well, look, I mean, they're gonna see that, because there's nothing else really through there.
It's an exit.
Mhm. And it's not-
So, we've got several other comments in this area.
So well, let's not leave from this because we need to make sure we've addressed this scenic corridor overlay District 2.
Personally, just my opinion, the highway, it has already its own kind of country feel when you're rolling through it. If 220 is something we want to have more commercial, then I could actually see that one have more shared signage that are taller than 6 foot. Something where you got signs, because we have some large sites along 220. You have the old food line, you got the new food line areas, and who knows how things will kind of develop in the future. But if they did a shared sign, then it could be one large sign that holds multiple titles for businesses along there, and it's just one, and it would have to be bigger than 6 feet, or no one would be able to see it. But that's 220. I mean, what you're talking about on I-73 is, it's basically, it's advertisement. They're putting those signs out there not to direct you at their driveways. They're putting signs out on the highway saying, hey, I'm here, don't pass me by. It's not necessarily to bring you in at the driveways, to bring you in at the off-ramp, and then start looking for the directional signs to bring you around. So those signs on the highway are more.
Well, we've got that in 8.10.
I would say this too, if I can interject. I do
Yeah, no,
think
don't.
when you're driving down a highway, not even in a scenic area, I think most of the time you use those blue signs. I was driving with
I
my
do.
three-
Yeah.
I was
I
driving
do.
with my son the other day, and I'm like, just watch for the signs, and we'll see where we're gonna get off. So I think that as long as those are available, I think there needs
That's
to,
enough.
yeah, I do. I think that's what people mostly depend upon at this point in time. You know, whether 6 foot is enough, I'm not, that's not what I do. I think somebody, I mean, I understand, I don't think we want a 40-foot sign. Should it be a little taller than 6 feet? You know, maybe.
Well, the state highway signs are gonna be regulatory, those will be what they are, but yeah, we're talking about like the business sign, but,
Right.
yeah, and like you said, maybe it could be, but